Attention to healthcare news at all in the last 10, 15 years. We're all very sensitive to the fact of the effect of osteoporosis on women. And with our mothers and our loved ones, we want to make sure that they take their calcium, and so there's a lot of awareness. But did you know, guys, that 1 in 4 of us will suffer from osteoporosis in our lifetime? Didn't know that. Our next company is addressing that problem. BiologicsMD is a virtual incubation company firm, and in keeping with the rock star theme for these two presentations, these guys are rock stars when it comes to the business plan competitions. They've won several business competitions, and they have the distinction of being the only company to ever win both the Moot Corp and the Rice University business plan competitions. So join me in welcoming BiologicsMD.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Misty Stevens, Chief Operating Officer for BiologicsMD. With me today is Paul Malacher, our President. Now, BiologicsMD is developing a new prescription medication for the treatment of osteoporosis. And as you were just told, osteoporosis will affect 1 of every 2 women and 1 of every 4 men over the age of 50. And in spite of current therapies, there are still over 1.5 million osteoporosis-related fractures every year. And these fractures can have devastating consequences. For a person suffering an osteoporosis-related hip fracture, more than 1 in 5 will die within the year. And only 15% of those can cross a room unaided after 6 months. But osteoporosis does not have to be a life sentence. Today, we're going to talk to you about our superior product and its advantages over the current therapies. We're going to talk about our operating strategy and financial plan for moving our product forward. We're also going to talk to you about the growing market for osteoporosis medications and introduce you to our experienced management team. Now, the current osteoporosis medications are divided into 2 major categories, and the first of these are the anti-resorptives. I'm sure many of you have seen Sally Field advertising Boniva, or you may know someone who's taking Fosamax, and both of these are anti-resorptives. Now, anti-resorptives have serious limitations. Unfortunately, they don't grow new bone. Anti-resorptives work by slowing down the rate at which you lose bone. In addition, there's a growing body of evidence that suggests long-term use of these anti-resorptives can have serious side effects, such as osteonecrosis of your jaw or an increased risk of low-impact fractures to your long bones. Now, while they're commonly prescribed, anti-resorptives obviously don't grow new bone, but the other class, the anabolics, do grow new bone. And currently there's only one available in the market today, and that's Eli Lilly's Forteo. And while Eli Lilly's Forteo can grow new bone, it too has serious limitations. For one, it requires that patients take a shot every single day. In addition, it's extremely expensive, costing over $8,000 per annual treatment. Now, our product for treating osteoporosis is unique among all of these. It's an anabolic, so it grows new bone, but it's targeted directly to the bone where it has its effect. BiologicsMD is developing PTH-CBD, a unique molecular fusion of pieces of 2 FDA-approved therapeutics. CBD, which is a collagen-binding domain, targets the entire molecule to the bone. PTH actively causes new bone growth. Now, this unique combination of targeting to the bone and increasing new bone formation means that a semi-annual or even an annual dose of PTH-CBD can cause an extended period of new healthy bone growth. Now, remember, this is in comparison to Forteo, which requires that patients take a shot every single day. Yet Forteo is the most effective drug currently on the market today. So we've compared PTH-CBD and Forteo head-to-head in our preclinical animal studies. And we do this typically by measuring their ability to increase bone mineral density. And the data I'm showing you here today, it's from a mouse study where Forteo showed a 5% increase in bone mineral density. PTH-CBD, a 13% increase, showing that PTH-CBD is nearly 3 times more effective than the most effective drug on the market today. Now, our preclinical data set is extensive. We've looked at rats and mice. We've studied, had study durations that lasted from 3 months to over 12 months. We've looked at safety, we've looked at efficacy, We've even examined the bone quality formed after treatment with PTH-CBD. In addition, we're looking at alternative uses for the medication, such as the increased rate of fracture repair. Now together, our preclinical data supports 3 major advantages for PTH-CBD. One, it's 3 times more effective than the most effective drug on the market today. It's actually 5 times more effective than the most commonly prescribed osteoporosis medications. Secondly, because PTH-CBD is targeted to your bone, it gets removed from the bloodstream really quickly, which means we expect few, if any, side effects. It's important to note that in all the preclinical animal studies to date, we have not seen any serious side effects. And finally, also because it's targeted to the bone, PTH-CBD will need less frequent dosing than Forteo. We expect a semi-annual or an annual shot of PTH-CBD will be more effective than daily dosing of Forteo. Now, BiologicsMD has already signed an exclusive license to a pending international patent from the University of Arkansas. The patent is filed in the major market areas of the United States, Europe, Canada, and Japan. It's comprised of 60 different claims that cover not only the product composition, but also separate applications such as the treatment of osteoporosis. Importantly, we've had 3 independent reviews of the patent that show not only is it going to be patentable, but that we also have the necessary freedom to operate. So now let me switch gears a little bit and tell you about our plans for moving PTH-CBD from an academic discovery to a commercial medication. We're going to use a cost-effective strategy, which includes outsourcing several of the major developmental steps along the pathway. Our manufacturing, preclinical testing, and clinical trials will be outsourced to a very capable contract organization. Now, when it's cost-effective, we'll keep things in-house. For instance, our assay development and regulatory submissions and all interactions with the FDA will be kept in-house because that's where our experience is. Our plan is to develop PTH-CBD through a phase 1 human clinical study. After that's completed, we will look to sublicense PTH-CBD to a larger pharmaceutical firm or enter into a co-development agreement with a pharmaceutical. So where are we today? Obviously, we've completed the discovery stage a few years ago, and we've moved into the preclinical development steps. This is where, as I told you, we've looked at safety and efficacy in rodent models, and we've also introduced our product to the FDA. Here's where we are now. We need to develop the manufacturing platform on a larger scale for producing PTH-CBD. We need to complete the GLP toxicology studies, and then we'll be able to move into the clinical trials. For that, we'll manufacture PTH-CBD at a large scale and in a manner so that it's suitable for use in humans. Then we'll conduct our phase 1 human safety study. Now, along the way, from where we are now, through that phase 1 safety study, we intend to meet several major milestones. And our milestones are correlated with the FDA approval process. They add value to our company, and each of these are correlated with the timing of our investment needs as well. So now that we have our plan developed, we're looking to close a $1.5 million round, which will pay for that early manufacturing process development. Once that's completed, we'll present our process and our plans to the FDA at a pre-IND meeting. And if they agree with how far we've come and what we plan to do later past that, we'll look for $2.5 million to do our toxicology studies and also to do the manufacturing for the clinical trial. Then we file an IND. That's an investigational new drug application to the FDA, which is really a request to start a phase 1 clinical trial. If they approve, we'll look for $2 million to fund that phase 1. So obviously, the successful completion of the phase 1 clinical trial will add enormous value to our company, which is why this is the point where we're going to spend the most effort looking for a sub-licensing. Now that I've talked to you about our product and I've talked about our plans for moving forward, I'm going to let Paul talk to you about the market and our management team.
Thank you, Misty. Last year, the osteoporosis market the osteoporosis treatment market for medications reached $3 billion in the U.S. and $9 billion globally. Not only is this a very large market, but it's also important to note this market is expected to see significant growth in the coming future due to our aging population. So let's take a quick look at the competitive landscape. As Misty alluded to earlier, obviously the predominant of the market share is the anti-resorptives, and that is because they're cheap, they're readily available. In fact, Fosamax is available in a generic form. And let's look at the only approved antibiotic that is on the market today, Eli Lilly's Forteo. Despite its high cost to consumers and limitations, it's managed to gain 10% of the entire market share. So if we look right here, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for an osteoporosis treatment that does in fact grow new bone, but does so at a lower cost to consumers. That's the formula for winning market share, and that is PTH-CBD. So now I'd like to discuss with you briefly our exit strategy. It is to obtain a license agreement with Big Pharma. So let me show you some comparables of what we would expect to see as far as our evaluation and completion of a phase 1 human trial. The first is GlaxoSmithKline in 2005 cut a deal with Unigene. This is an actual agreement where GSK paid $12 million up front and is continuing to fund the research through milestone payments that ultimately will lead to a $150 million payout. This is for a pre-phase 1 osteoporosis treatment drug. More recently, in 2008, Merck cut a deal with Japanese tobacco company. Merck paid $85 million for the rights to the drug and are continuing to fund their research through phase 2 human trials in Japan. It's currently in a phase 1 human trial in the US. So that gives you an idea of what we would expect evaluation of PTH-CBD to be at the conclusion of a phase 1 human trial. Now, let me introduce you to our management team. Obviously, I'm Paul Malacher. I'm the president of BiologicsMD. I have 15 years experience in government, corporate, and small business. Our chief medical officer is Dr. Rob Genter. Rob is a co-inventor of PTH-CBD, as well as a practicing clinician and researcher. Dr. Jim Shook is our chief development and regulatory officer. Jim has 35 years experience as an executive in the pharmaceutical industry. As well, he has pushed 25 drugs through the FDA approval process. Dr. Misty Stevens, who you've already met, is our chief operating officer. Misty has grant writing experience, a PhD in biology, but key to our team, she has personal face-to-face interaction with the FDA. Dr. Robin Goforth is our chief scientific officer. Robin has a PhD in protein chemistry, as well as grant writing experience, and an obvious key strength to our team. And Michael Thomas is our chief marketing officer. Michael has 12 years experience in sales and marketing and currently leads a national sales rep team for Colgate-Palmolive. Finally, our chairman of the board is Dr. Calvin Goforth. Calvin has 15 years experience in incubation and is the founder and CEO of a virtual incubation company. So let me summarize our investment opportunity. PTH-CBD, twice as effective at half the cost. Our operating strategy was designed to mitigate risk and put together by very professionals who have already navigated the FDA approval process. We have a financing plan that is optimized return on investors by seeking non-dilutive sources of grant funding. Finally, a $9 billion market that is expected to see significant growth in the coming future from our aging population. Our company officers combined have over a century of experience in all relevant matters of the project. So let me close the presentation with this statement. The risk of a woman dying from an osteoporosis-related fracture is greater than her risk of dying from breast, ovarian, and uterine cancer combined. So invest with us so we can build better bones. Thank you very much. This concludes our presentation.